I tried to make a video yesterday. It didn't work, and I'm kind of shifting gears anyway, although I will be covering some of what I was trying to talk about yesterday. The thing that I want to talk about mainly is a sobering reality that I've learned, that I've relearned this week, especially since I've seen the way that people just ditch people, and since Valentine's Day is coming up, I'm probably giving a good example of what real love looks like. And part of what I write in my blog, and this is going to be the description for the video, part of what I write in my blog is this. And I was originally going to write it as a Facebook status or a Facebook post, except it got too long, and then I thought, why not make it a blog entry? And this is what I wrote. In part, I wrote, if you don't stick with someone in his or her bad times, you don't deserve to share in his or her good times. I'm not saying that I haven't been that undeserving person at times. Nonetheless, any person who won't stick with another in his or her bad times doesn't deserve to share in his or her good times. Also, especially those who don't have as many and or heavy burdens to bear, should be helping those who do have many and or heavy enough burdens to bear. By the way, I did notice a typo in that, so I'm going to go ahead and fix that before people get on me. And I know that some people will get on me. Even if they get on me silently, they'll be like, oh geez, here she goes again. And what I also wrote at the end is this, and I want to explain this too. I wrote, oh, it is what I wrote. I was trying to find it. And this is why I primarily wrote it. I noticed that some people have unfollowed me on Twitter lately when I've been going through some of the hard times and when I've been busy with Riley. So this is what I explained, and in terms of why I wrote the blog entry in the first place. By the way, I wrote this primarily in regards to people, including family members, who have ditched me offline and online, and who would ditch me offline as I can ascertain. After all, people online are reflections of themselves offline, including who they would be offline if they could get away with being so. Now those people can surely know, if they didn't know, why I, for example, started that unfollow for unfollow trend on Twitter. As I stated, any person who won't stick with another in his or her bad times doesn't deserve to share in his or her good times. Therefore, anyone in my own life who won't stick with me in my bad times doesn't deserve to share in any of my good times. By the way, I noticed another typo there, so I'll correct that. And I know that some people are going to get on me for that, and that's part of ditching me. And ditching others as well if you do it to them. Nitpicking every little thing and expecting them to be perfect and like you've never done anything wrong. It just, and I mean, it's the same way with so many issues right now. For example, I mean, even just in terms of, politics and expecting people to walk the chalk lines that you want them to walk. And part of bearing one another's burdens, by the way, is being truthful about things and about reality. And if you're not willing to be honest with someone about something, if you're not willing to let them know what reality is in a regard, then you're not bearing their burdens, and in fact, you're ditching them. And not only that, but Scripture says that an open rebuke is better than love carefully concealed, and faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. And, for example, I don't know about the people who are supporting Benjamin Netanyahu and John Boehner in violating Article 2, Section 3 of the United States Constitution. I will say this, though. Some are probably falsely supporting Netanyahu and Boehner. Others, though, they don't see Netanyahu for who he is, despite that many Israelis, even back home, and certainly here in the diaspora, can see Netanyahu for who he is. And we've been trying to tell you that if you support Netanyahu in, doing what he's doing, especially if you don't know the whole story. You're hurting, especially, well, let me start with the Jews who are supporting Netanyahu. If you don't see Netanyahu for who he really is, you're hurting yourself. You're hurting a man who is giving more power to Agudat Yisrael, is keeping many Jews in the diaspora because he's giving more power to Agudat Yisrael, and he almost tried to give 86% of the West Bank away. So if you're supporting Netanyahu, if you have any burdens, are just making it more difficult. If you're in the diaspora, you are causing yourself and others to stay in the diaspora more. If you're in Israel, you are keeping many of us in the diaspora, and you're risking that you might have to leave, because, hey, many Olim and many Sabras who have connections to, for example, Russia, have been kicked out because of Agudat Yisrael. And for the Gentiles who are supporting Netanyahu, by the way, if you are supporting him, if you are not willing to see what Netanyahu is doing, as well as what Speaker Boehner is doing by supporting Netanyahu and by letting him give his speech, you are hurting Jews, both in Israel and both in the diaspora, because you're not seeing Netanyahu for who he is at home and what he's trying to bring over here. And forget about Netanyahu meddling in the U.S.'s affairs. He's just bringing to the U.S., to a part of the diaspora, what he's already done at home. So, I mean, there's an example of that. And by the way, happy Valentine's Day to those who are celebrating Valentine's Day, and Shabbat Shalom. And I hope that some of you, through all this, learn what true love is, or really bearing someone's burden is, what being a real friend is. And again, as I said, just to reiterate, now I hope that some of you know why I do that unfollow for follow. Let me put it this way. I've said if you want to play that game, although it's not really a game, it's if you're going to be like that to me, if you're not going to bear my burdens, I'm not going to stick around you, and I'm not going to put myself in a situation where I'm not loving myself, and I'm certainly not loving others by letting people hurt me.